This documentary series contains discussions of high-level trafficking, systemic corruption, and sensitive criminal activity. Some language has been modified to comply with platform safety guidelines without compromising the integrity of the facts. Welcome to Episode 2. This is an independent investigation into the truth behind the headlines. Today, we're descending on the most infamous coordinates in the Atlantic, Jeffrey Epstein's private islands. While the world watches the 2026 declassifications, we're going deeper to draw the line between documented history and the dark legends surrounding these shores. I've uncovered several vital details that shift the narrative, and tonight, we're stripping away the noise to separate cold, hard facts from the abyss of speculation.
The acquisition timeline and structure of the Little St. James. Jeffrey Epstein acquired Little St. James Island through a warranty deed dated April 27, 1998. The property was purchased via LSJ LLC, a Delaware entity with Epstein listed as the sole member. The deed shows the island consisted of 3 parcels totaling approximately 71.5 acres, 36.7 acres, 23 acres, and 11.8 acres. In 2011, the property was transferred from LSJ LLC to Nautilus, Inc. for $10 and other good and valuable consigned ration. Epstein was president and director of Nautilus, Inc., which corporate filings describe as holding property for personal use. The estate valued Epstein's holdings in Nautilus, Inc., which holds title to Little St. James, at $63.9 million. In 2016, Epstein's enterprise acquired Great St. James, the nearest island to Little St. James, for more than $20 million. This purchase was made through Great St. Jim, LLC, a shell company organized by St. Thomas attorney Erica Kellerhals. Documents show Epstein used a straw purchaser to hide his identity since he was already a convicted S offender at that time. He reportedly intended to build a second, even more massive compound on Great St. James, including a solar farm, a large amphitheater, and an underwater office/viewing room. In 2018 and 2019, he was caught clearing land and building roads and structures without proper permits. The Virgin Islands Department of Planning and Natural Resources, DPNR, issued multiple cease and desist orders. He was accused of destroying centuries-old historical structures, remains of quarters for enslaved workers, and damaging coral reefs to build a barge landing. He often applied for minor permits, like a flagpole, and then used those permits as cover to move heavy machinery onto the island for major excavations. Renovation and construction projects. The documents reveal extensive renovation work on the island. 2005, Epstein installed a combination power and fiber optic cable from St. Thomas, providing the island with dedicated data and electric connections. 2008, installation of mechanical equipment costing $1.2 million with Lafayette contractors in charge. 2010, kitchen renovation and laundry addition costing $187,000. 2011, construction of a pool with cabana, deck, and equipment room costing $383,300. Work included replacing existing roof concrete columns and stucco, adding arches above front entry steps, replacing decorative walls, and extensive landscaping. The island featured multiple structures, including an office pavilion, hammam site, and various other buildings. He hired designer Edward Tuttle to renovate the main residence into a colonnaded villa-style house. The infrastructure expanded to include 4 guest villas, 2 swimming pools, 3 private beaches, and a gym. conspiracy and illegal activity allegations. Legal complaints allege that Epstein engaged in a pattern and practice of trafficking and young women and female children on this private, secluded island, where he and his associates could avoid detection from law enforcement. The island's isolation was key. It's nearly 2 miles from St. Thomas with no bridge connection, accessible only by private boat or helicopter. The 2016 purchase of the neighboring island was allegedly to prevent others from viewing activities on Little St. James. The complaint states Epstein's enterprise purchased Great St. James because its participants wanted to ensure that the island did not become a base from which others could view their activities or visitors. Legal documents argue that Little St. James became an instrumentality of those crimes, as Nautilus, Inc. participated in carrying out, facilitating, and concealing Epstein's crimes. While the documents clearly show the acquisition timeline and renovation details, they don't provide the original purchase price for Little St. James in 1998. The $63.9 million valuation appears to be from Epstein's estate valuation, not the original acquisition cost. One of the most discussed buildings was a square white structure with a gold dome, which blew off in a 2017 hurricane that workers referred to as a music room or the temple. Conspiracists have claimed this building was a front for a ritualistic site or an elevator entrance leading to a massive network of underground tunnels where victims were held. The music pavilion was a single, large room with a high ceiling, designed with specific acoustic properties. The center of the room featured a black grand piano manufactured by the Rudolf Wurlitzer Company. The walls were lined with floor-to-ceiling bookcases. The floor was made of wood and covered by a large oriental rug. Most notably, above the piano hung a large portrait of Jeffrey Epstein and the Pope. A 10-foot-long dark wood desk and a gray sofa were the primary pieces of furniture, giving it the feel of a library or study rather than a traditional temple. Multiple victims testified that the island was a primary location for SA and trafficking, leading to its nickname, PDF Island. The island was a massive honey trap operation where Epstein recorded guests to blackmail them. There is significant evidence for this. FBI raids found thousands of photos and many CDs/DVDs labeled with descriptions of S encounters. Former staff members testified that Epstein insisted on extreme confidentiality and that certain areas of the house were equipped with high-tech surveillance. The false door, a set of large brown doors that were actually just painted onto the side of the building, fueled the underground tunnel theories, as people wondered why a building would have a fake entrance. Investigators eventually determined that the real entrance was a standard glass door on the side of the building facing the ocean. The dentist chair. A room on the island was set up for medical torture or bizarre surgeries. In December 2025, the House Oversight Committee released photos of the island's interior, which indeed included a room with a professional dentist's chair. While its presence is unsettling and unusual for a private residence, investigators have not yet linked it to a specific medical crime, though it adds to the island's reputation for eccentricity and control. I personally believe that it was used as a disguise room to change identity, to do small medical operation. In the House Oversight Committee's release in late 2025, several new photos of the island's interior were made public. While many of the most disturbing images, like the dentist chair and the chalkboard with cryptic words, were found in the main residence and other cabanas, the temple remains a focal point for the investigation into the island's surveillance infrastructure. It is believed that the building's height and isolated location on the southwest point made it an ideal hub for the island's extensive security and recording systems. Underground tunnels/lair. Epstein reportedly obsessed over tunnels and emails, maintenance, flooring, renos. People point to possible access points in hillsides, speculating hidden complexes for blackmail ops or worse. No concrete proof of vast tunnels, but the isolation plus secrecy keeps it alive. Following Epstein's death in 2019, the island became part of his estate and was subject to civil lawsuits and a $105 million settlement with the U.S. Virgin Islands government. The sale. In May 2023, billionaire asset manager Stephen Dekoff, founder of Black Diamond Capital Management, purchased both Little St. James and the neighboring Great St. James for $60 million. As part of the sale settlement, a portion of the funds, roughly $450,000, was specifically earmarked to fix the environmental damage Epstein caused on Great St. James. Dekoff plans to develop a state-of-the-art, 5-star, world-class, luxury 25-room resort on the islands. As of early 2026, while the plans are public, no construction on the islands has been reported yet. Police boats lit up around Little St. James on the 4th of March. TMZ footage. Lights flashing. Another vessel docked. Virgin Islands PD chief says it's an active investigation, but not Epstein-related. Still, timing with ongoing file drops keeps people suspicious.
The bigger conspiracy web connects the islands to elite blackmail rings, intelligence ops, CIA mentions in some wilder takes, and why no full client list has dropped despite millions of pages released, heavily redacted. But no smoking gun criminal proof for most. Theories mutate fast. AI hoaxes, foreign disinfo, QAnon/Pizzagate echoes all over again. The maps show 2 islands, but the files suggest a network that never sleeps. As the tides pull back in 2026, we're finding that the most dangerous things weren't what was happening on the surface, but what was being recorded beneath it. The trail doesn't end here. It's just getting deeper. This is Against Evil's